On today's episode of Chronicles of a Nigerian Woman, I'll be reading Rosemary's story. My story is not so much about me, but about my dad. I did not realize it when I was growing up. But being an adult now, I know that he is a rare breed, almost superhuman. Listen to my story and you'll understand why. I am the second of 2 children. I have an older brother. We were brought up by a single father here in Nigeria. He's the only parent I have ever known. I never met my mother, although I have seen some pictures of her with my father and my brother. As I heard the story, she left when I was 6 months old, and my brother was about 17 months old. I have asked my dad about why she left. He never told me the full story because, according to him, they both had their faults. But from what I gleaned, she left my dad to marry someone else. She was beautiful, the kind of woman you can call a goddess. Beautiful body, pretty face, and long, thick, natural hair. Even in the pictures where she was pregnant with me, you could not tell she had given birth before. Except for the pregnancy bump, her tall, slim figure looked pristine, and you could tell she was very fashionable. I never saw any picture of my mother without her makeup and red lipstick in place. And even though her hair was always in African plaits or braids, she obviously paid attention to it. I took after her height and her build, but I don't think I can ever come close to her in looks. Anyway, back to my dad. When my mom left my father with 2 babies, he was afraid and unsure of what to do with us. I know this because I sat down with him on more than one occasion as an adult to have this conversation. According to him, it was the scariest moment of his life. He was dealing with deep emotional pain from losing his wife, and at the same time, he was left alone to nurture 2 children who were just babies. He said 2 things were uppermost on his mind and became his guiding principles. The first, he would never let his children feel the absence of their mother. He would bring them up by himself and care for them as well as any woman could. Second, his children would be his utmost priority. Every other thing would take second place. It was tough, very tough, he told me, especially because he still had to earn money. He is a photographer, and it was the early days of his career at the time, so he was still trying to build his business reputation. He took us everywhere, to every job. Of course, this meant he had to turn down jobs that required him to travel long distances out of town. He hired an assistant who helped with the business and also went with him to his jobs to watch over us while my father worked. But my father never hired a housemaid or a nanny because he was afraid that harm could come to us. It was the same reason he did not remarry. My dad was everything to us and did everything for us. He even learned to make my hair, and he did so until I was a teenager. He was particularly protective of me, being a girl. Growing up, there were a few times when my grandmother came to stay with us, or when my dad's younger sister stayed with us for a few days at a time. But those were the exceptions. My grandfather is still alive till now, so my grandmother could not leave him for long anyway. My dad did not like sending us to any of his older siblings because he did not want to put the extra burden of our care on anyone. He cooked all our meals, taught us to pray, and even taught me about puberty and how to use sanitary towels. Every household skill we have, we learned from our father. The only person he employed for domestic purposes was a woman who came to clean and also went to the market once a week when we were much younger. Of course, over the years, his business grew bigger and he hired more staff at the office, and they assisted him with us off and on. My father would not even let us go to boarding school because he did not want us to be maltreated. We were not spoilt, but we were very loved and cared for. Very few people knew that our mother was absent. I am 24 now, and my brother is 25, and we are both done with university. When people comment on my kind and likable personality, I know I owe it all to my dad. Even my friends' parents comment on how well raised I am. It was all my father, my hero. Edward, my brother, and I are trying to convince my father to consider finding love again, especially since we are grown and will soon leave home. He keeps saying he is not sure if he has any love left to spare for anyone else. He is 53. I know he will make a great spouse for an equally kind woman, and I hope he takes our advice. As for me, I know that any man I will marry has a very high standard to meet because my father has set the bar very, very high. I'd like to hear your thoughts about Rosemary's story in the comments below. Remember to subscribe to my channel, to like this video, and to share it with someone else. You can also join the Valiant Women's Network, a community of thriving women where we share stories and carry out other activities to help us thrive as women. The link to join is in the description below. Till I come your way again next time. Ciao!